They don't tell you the real rules when you sign up for the midnight rig. They just hand you a basic safety manual and tell you the pay is high because of the extreme isolation. But on my third night, 200 miles off the coast of Louisiana, the senior engineer handed me a crumpled piece of paper. It had only one sentence written in red ink: if the water stops moving, do not look down. I honestly thought it was a hazing ritual meant to mess with the new female crew members. Until 2 a.m., I was on the lower deck checking the pressure valves. The ocean below is usually a chaotic mess of white foam and black water. But suddenly it went flat. Like glass, the waves just stopped. My breath hitched in my throat. The quiet was sickening. That's when I heard it, a tapping sound. Not from the rig's machinery, but from right under the steel floorboards beneath my boots. Tap, 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 like someone was knocking on the bottom of the ocean floor. Panicking, I pulled out the crumpled paper. Rule number 4 was right there. If you hear the tapping, start humming a lullaby. Do not stop until you hear the splash. My hands shook as cold sweat soaked through my uniform. I squeezed my eyes shut and started humming Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. My voice was cracking, trembling with pure terror. The tapping didn't stop, it got louder. Then a pale, giant hand wider than a pickup truck gripped the steel edge of the railing right in front of me. It had 6 long, jointless fingers. The skin was translucent and slick, like decayed jellyfish meat under the floodlights. I kept humming. My lungs were burning, but I knew if I stopped, I was dead. Slowly, a massive face rose above the still water. It had no eyes. Just a smooth, pale slab of skin and a wide slit that pulled open to reveal rows upon rows of glowing, needle-sharp teeth. It leaned over the railing, just inches from my face. Its breath smelled like rotting kelp and ancient salt. It wasn't looking at me, it was listening to my humming. I forced the tune out of my throat, tears streaming down my face. For 30 agonizing seconds, the creature hovered there, its cold breath freezing the air around me. Then, with a heavy splash, it let go and sank back into the black abyss. The waves immediately returned, violently crashing against the steel pillars. I collapsed onto the deck, hyperventilating. But when I looked at the structural monitors in the control room an hour later, my blood ran cold. The sonar skin showed the underwater drill wasn't anchored into ocean rock at all. The drill bit was embedded deep into something organic. Something massive that was slowly breathing 5 miles under the surface. The missing crew members from the previous shift hadn't transferred out, they were fed to it to keep it sleeping. I quit the next morning. I didn't even wait for my paycheck. I took the very first supply chopper back to the mainland. But being on dry land hasn't saved me. Now, whenever I try to take a bath at night, I have to turn the faucet off. Because the moment the water in the tub becomes perfectly still, I hear that same soft tap, tap, tap coming from the other side of the drain. I hear that same soft tap, tap, tap coming from the other side of the drain. For months, I told myself I was just paranoid, that it was PTSD from the rig. But last night at 3 a.m., the tapping stopped coming from the bathtub. It moved to the kitchen sink, then to the toilet, then to the plumbing inside the walls right next to my bed. Tap, tap, tap. I sat up, freezing, holding my breath in the dark. The sound was moving through the pipes, traveling upward. That's when my cell phone on the nightstand buzzed with an emergency alert. I picked it up with shaking hands. The notification wasn't from the weather service or the government. It was an automated system broadcast from the oil company's off-grid server. The message read, "Unit for update. The rig was evacuated 48 hours ago. The entity is no longer in the ocean. It has entered the municipal water supply." My heart stopped. Before I could even scream, the pipes inside my bedroom wall violently burst. Cold, black, salty water poured into the room, smelling heavily of decayed kelp and ancient rot. And as the water rose around my ankles, completely flat and still, a pale, six-fingered hand slowly pushed its way out from the shattered wall.